Hello, my name is Nicole Crabtree, and I will be continuing the discussion on our literature review. When looking at the effects of positive psychology on depression, one of the questions that might come up is how do you measure distress? One of the ways that we can measure distress is by looking at negative affectivity, or one's negative emotions. Negative affectivity can explain the correlation between constructs such as depression and anxiety. Sitting at the other end of the spectrum is positive affectivity. There is evidence that looking at positive affectivity may be useful in predicting one's risk for depression. However, further research is needed to confirm this. The reason why looking at positive and negative affectivity is important when considering one's depression risk is because positive experiences lead to feelings of happiness. Therefore, it follows that negative experiences may lead to less happiness. Studies have shown that higher incidence of negative experiences increases one's depression risk. There are other important factors to look at and address when assessing whether positive psychology has an effect on depression. Age is one of those factors. Adults tend to report less negative symptoms than adolescents do. Gender is another factor. Evidence shows that females have reported engaging in more negative thoughts than their male peers. Additionally, females have also reported experiencing more negative mood states than their male peers. So we have looked at how positive psychology can impact depression generally, and we have also looked at some important factors to take into consideration when applying positive psychology. Now let's take a look at some of the interventions that have been tested and what the evidence shows about their outcomes. The first intervention we'll look at is called 9 Beautiful Things. In this study, participants were asked to write down 9 beautiful things each day. 3 of these beautiful things had to be on human behavior, 3 had to be on the environment, and 3 had to be general beautiful things that the participants observed. The control group was only asked to reflect on early memories. The researchers set out to determine the effect that this task had on happiness and depressive symptoms. They wanted to know whether the appreciation of beauty and excellence could increase feelings of well-being and decrease depressive symptoms. In order to collect data for the study, participants were asked to fill out online evaluations. The first evaluation occurred prior to implementation of the treatment plan. Subsequent evaluations occurred 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months after the treatment plan was implemented. The results of the study showed that participants did experience increased feelings of well-being up to 1 month after the treatment plan was implemented. The results also showed a decrease in depressive symptoms for up to 1 week. Although the results seem to indicate that this intervention is beneficial in treating depression, there are some limitations. First of all, 90% of the participants were female, which may skew the results for the population. Additionally, the benefits seen were very short term. Another study set out to show the effects of positive and negative feedback on those experiencing depression. In this experiment, participants were divided into 3 groups. One group received positive feedback, another group received negative feedback, and a control group received no feedback at all. In this experiment, 2 groups met with a speech therapist over the course of 4 interviews. In the 2 initial interviews, one group was provided with positive feedback and the second group was provided with negative feedback. 1 month after the initial interviews, 2 more interviews occurred. In between these 2 post-test interviews, the participants were given a communication task which could have been as easy as saying hi to a friend. The control group was not provided with any feedback. All groups filled out questionnaires regarding their mood. The researchers found that positive feedback may be a therapeutic method facilitator of change to depression. However, some participants in the group that received negative feedback reported a decline in suffering as well. Therefore, further research needs to be done to determine what may have caused the decline in suffering.